Hi, I'm Antonia. This is Universally Me. First off, please subscribe. You can do so by clicking right here or right below, so it's super easy. I would really appreciate it, and I don't even think it'll leave the video or anything if you click. Well, I want to start by saying that I love reading different film forums and horror forums online. I think it's really cool. I definitely learn a lot. I don't know, I'm kind of new to learning about a lot of this. I didn't really grow up with it being instilled in me as much as maybe people think I did. And so I'm very much aware that when I'm in those forums, I'm talking to people who've been studying a lot of this stuff and have just loved a lot of this stuff even longer than I've been alive. So that's really great for me. So recently I was on the Universal Horrors forum and I found a list of Bela Lugosi's homes. So really quickly, for anybody who might not know who Bela Lugosi is, he played Dracula in Universal's 1931 film. He also did a bunch of other films with them, including a few of the Frankenstein films, but not the original. And he also did The Black Cat, which I did a video on just a few videos ago, and you can check out by clicking right there. Yeah, I just figured since most of his homes are in Hollywood, and I'm in Hollywood, why not go check them out? So I dragged my friend Michelle, and we spent a day driving all over. This is not a 1000% fully comprehensive, complete list. There were a few places where I couldn't find an exact number, it just had a street name. There's a few that were kind of far away, so we didn't go to those. And also, for the record, there was no trespassing here. I didn't want to, break any laws. So it's all very much just what the house looks like. And I couldn't really find much about what they used to look like, so I'm not positive if they're new, if they're old, if it's what it looked like when he was there. I'm not 1000% sure, but here are Bela Lugosi's homes now. So first up on the list is the Hollywood Athletic Club. This is at 6525 Sunset Boulevard in Hollywood. And Bela Lugosi supposedly lived here on and off for a few years in the late 1920s and the early 1930s. The Hollywood Athletic Club was built in 1924, and at the time it was the tallest building in Los Angeles. It had quite a few really prestigious members. It had Walt Disney, Errol Flynn, Cecil B. DeMille, Mary Pickford, Charlie Chaplin. I never realized that an athletic club was a place that people could live. But nobody seems to question this. And here's a picture of the athletic club sometime around when it first opened in the 20s or 30s. And here are a few pictures outside today. The next address is 1146 North Hudson, and this is probably where Bela lived while he was filming Dracula. I couldn't find any old pictures of it, so I'm not sure if this is exactly the same, but it was super cute. It was a duplex, it looks like, split left and right, and if it is the same, Bela's place would have been on the left. Yeah, there are a lot of trees and shrubs and stuff out front, so it's hard to really get a good sense of what's going on, but here's a view of it from the side. Throughout the 1930s, I found like 10 different addresses for Bela, and I'm trying to do these as chronologically as possible, but I honestly just have no idea. So next up on the list is 2643 Creston, and this is in the Hollywood Hills. And again, there's not a whole lot to see here. The house is kind of halfway below street level. There's a bunch of really tall trees in front. I would guess on the other side is a great view of the hills and mountains. It might be right at the edge, and that from over there, if I was maybe a little more keen on trespassing, you would have a better view of the house, but this is what we got. Moving on is 1534 North McCadden. This was kind of one of the more interesting ones because it seems like sometime after Bela moved out, perhaps a long time after, it was turned into a restaurant, which was called Café des Artistes. And it looks like the reviews for the restaurant were pretty mediocre, which may be why it didn't last. It closed down sometime in 2011 or 2012, I think, or at least that's where the Yelp reviews stop. Yeah, I mean, it's mostly just kind of a boarded up mess now. And again, I didn't go on the property, but I did get some pretty tricky camera angles in there past the gates, so I hope that you appreciate these ones even if they're not too exciting or beautiful. This next place may have been our favorite, and that may be because there were just a lot of places to take cool pictures outside, but it was really pretty. It's 2829 Westshire Drive in the Hollywood Hills. It was up a windy road, kind of near the Hollywood sign. Yeah, it was just really great. It had a lot of brick, it had a beautiful wooden door. This was definitely the closest to what I would have pictured Dracula living in. And it looks like it was listed a few years ago, so I was able to get some pictures of the interior online. And I mean, it's not bad. I really liked this house. And this next place was super cool for a super random reason. It's 1728 North Hudson. It's just about 6 blocks up from the other place I showed you on Hudson. What was cool about this one to me is that just 10 steps away is the entrance to one of my favorite club lounge places in LA, No Vacancy. So I've had no idea for the last few years that I've been hanging out just steps from Bela Lugosi's front door, which, I don't know, I just loved. The place itself, though, I loved a little bit less. It's an apartment, it's kind of an icky color. It looks like Bela's door was on the bottom to the right. What maybe makes up for it, though, is that this kind of looks like it hasn't really been updated. So this may be one that really looks similar to when Bela himself was here, and that makes it a little better. Michelle and I then drove up Outpost to another beautiful house that Bela had. According to the internet, he only paid $32,000 for this place, which to me sounds a little bit absurd because it looked massive and beautiful, but also, too, I couldn't see a whole lot because there's this huge viney wall in front obstructing almost everything, so who knows what's back there. After this, Bela went to the Valley for a while. So his first address there was 3714 Lancashire. A lot of things online are saying this is North Hollywood, but as far as I know, the North Hollywood border is a little bit further. This was actually really close to Universal though, which I liked. It's on a very sort of quiet neighborhood street right at the base of a hill. I don't know if this is what the house looked like when he was living there, but I do know there were a lot of old houses in that area, a lot of history. It's really nice. Then Bela did go to North Hollywood. He went to 10841 Whipple Street, which was a fine little apartment complex. It looked old and outdated now. Maybe it was nicer then. North Hollywood itself is such an interesting area. I know, 10 and 15 years ago, it maybe wasn't the greatest place, but it's also gone through this huge renaissance recently where there's now this NoHo arts district and theaters. It's really nice now. It's a cool area, but I couldn't say if that's what it was like when he was living there. So moving on to his last place. This one is back in Hollywood, back over the hill. It was 5620 Harold Way in Hollywood. This was also an apartment, but it was very nice, very cute. I am very mad right now because literally just last night, somebody on Instagram tagged me in a picture standing in front of this home maybe 15 or 20 years ago. And it was almost exactly the same, except the wall in front wasn't there. This is the place where he passed away. I think that was in the year 1956. And I do have to wonder how many more places he would have moved to or lived in had he been alive longer. But he also had some other homes that, as I said, I didn't go to. He had one in like Elsinore, it's a little far away. There were ones on Westmoreland and Carlton where I couldn't get exact addresses. But I hope that you enjoyed this tour of Bela Lugosi's real estate, and thank you very much for watching. Follow me on Twitter and Instagram at Antonia Carlotta. Please subscribe, please share. Have a wonderful day.